Faith is the substance of things hoped for. What are you going after with your faith? It must have focus. When the woman with an issue of blood came to touch the hem of his garment, she didn't come saying, I will just touch the hem of his garment and anything in me that he gets healed, very good. Very focused. She knew she had a problem. Her focus, the focus of her faith was, when I touch the hem of his garment, I will be healed from this thing. The Canaanite woman who came to Jesus on behalf of her daughter in Matthew 15. The disciples of Jesus tried to shoo her away, and Jesus himself wasn't very too open to her. But when she came to Jesus, her faith was so focused, so determined. My daughter has to be healed. Faith must have a focus. You just can't say, I'm just believing God for something. What are you believing God? Can you describe it? Faith must have a focus. Jesus said it like this in Mark 11:24. He said, what things soever you desire. What is it you desire? I have no desires. Awaken your desire. Have some dreams, some goals, some things that you're pursuing for the sake of the kingdom. Whatever you desire when you pray, believe that you have received them and you will have them. Amen. See, sometimes our theology is so wrong. We say, just eliminate all desires from your heart. Excuse me. You need desire to have faith. So maintain that. Another next basic principle of faith is this, that faith must be exercised or released. We release faith in many different ways. You have faith in your heart, but having faith in your heart is like having an ATM card in your pockets. Until you go to the ATM and do something with that card, money will not come. So I got an ATM card, I'm so happy. Got an ATM card, I'm so happy. Wonderful, you have an ATM card. But until you go to the ATM machine, put the card in and do something, money will not come. You got faith in your heart, very good. Got faith in your heart, very good. It's like having an ATM card in your pockets. You need to exercise it. How do you exercise faith? There are some ways that you and I know that we can exercise faith as we see in the Word of God. One way to exercise faith is to pray. In prayer, in talking to God, you release your faith. And God recognizes that you have faith. Matthew chapter 21 and verse 22, Jesus said, all things whatever you ask in prayer, believing, you will receive. All things whatever you ask in prayer. So you're going before God. You're using your ATM card, so to speak. Pardon the very poor analogy here. But you're going before God. You got faith in your heart. You know God will meet that need. You know God will answer. And you go to God and say, God, this is what I ask. All things that you ask in prayer, believing, you will receive. So how do you exercise faith? One way to do it is through prayer. Another way to exercise your faith is through the spoken word. The words you speak release your faith in God. Jesus put it across to us like this in Matthew 17 and verse 20. He said, if you have faith, even like a mustard seed, you speak to your mountain. Speak to your mountain. Many of us make the mistake of speaking about our mountain, how big it is, how wide it is, But he said, don't talk about your mountain. You talk to the mountain. Call the pastor. Tell him how big your mountain is. It's not going to move. You talk to your mountain. Speak words of faith to your mountain. What must you tell the mountain? Be removed, be cast into the sea. Command your mountain to move. Speak to your circumstance. Speak to your situation. He said, if you have faith, you will speak to the mountain. Tell it to move, and it will move, and nothing will be impossible to you. And Jesus demonstrated that to us. When there was the storm and the sea. He spoke to the winds and the waves. He spoke to wicked spirits of darkness. He commanded them to leave. He spoke to circumstances and situations. That's how he exercises faith. To the sick he said, be healed. So the second way we exercise our faith is by the words of our mouth, by releasing words of faith in the name of Jesus. A third way we exercise faith is by our actions, by what we do. By our actions. If you believe it, do it. Act on it. James says it like this. He says in James 2:17, faith without works is dead. Faith without works is lifeless. If you do not have corresponding actions to what you say you believe, it's as good as not having it. It's dead. And he says, show me your faith without works, but I will show you my faith through my works, by what I do. And then he points us to Abraham and he says, look at Abraham. He had great faith in God, but even Abraham was perfected in his faith by his works. Meaning his faith was brought to maturity as he acted it out, as he lived and walked in accordance to that faith. So you have faith, act it out. Great example is in Mark 2 when these 4 friends bring their paralyzed friend to this house where Jesus was preaching, and they couldn't get in that morning or afternoon, whenever it was, Jesus was preaching. So they climbed up to the roof, they tore it open, the tiled roof, they lowered their friend through the roof, and the Bible says Jesus saw their faith. How did he see their faith? Or what they did. They went to this extent to get their friend to Jesus. And Jesus saw their faith. So another way to let God see your faith is by what you do. You believe God will get your job, get your resume done, send it out. Apply, go for interviews. Don't sit at home and fast and pray. I mean, do pray. But he needs to see some action to your faith. Amen? Act your faith. What do you believe? Go do it. Step out on your faith. Let God see your faith. And then God honors it. Another way to release our faith, the last one, is to pray, through thanksgiving and praise. By giving thanks to God. By giving praise to God. Jesus demonstrated that for us. You know, when he was in John 6, as he was about to feed these several thousand people sitting before him with his 5 loaves and 2 pieces of fish. The Bible says he gave thanks to God. For whom? He wasn't saying, God, I give you thanks for this food for me. He was going to feed 5,000 plus people. And he gave thanks. 5 loaves, 2 fish. I don't know what he prayed. It's not recorded. But you can just imagine, Father, thank you that everybody's going to eat, be happy, be filled. And there are going to be many baskets left over. Amen. Distribute. He gave thanks to God. Standing in front of Lazarus' tomb in John chapter 11 and verse 41, Jesus says this. He says, Father, I thank you that you have heard me. Lazarus is inside the tomb, been there for 4 days. And Jesus is standing in front of the tomb and he says, Father, I thank you that you have heard me. Meaning, I know what the result's going to be. I know you've already heard my prayer. And then he continues, he's saying, Father, and I'm saying this not for my sake, but for the sake of these people around me, so that they will know that you have sent me. That when this miracle happens, it happens because of you. So you may imagine standing in front of the tomb. Father, thank you that you've heard me. Like, what's he thanking God for? Everybody else is crying, but Jesus is saying, thank you, you've heard me. That's faith. Faith gives thanks to God, gives praise to God before the answer comes. Amen. You thank Him. Another way of releasing your faith. You say, Father, I thank you for meeting my need. I thank you for making this provision. I thank you for this door that's open. But you say, but the door hasn't been opened. That's what Jesus did. He was standing in front of a closed tomb. Lazarus was still dead. And Jesus says, Father, I thank you. You've heard me. He wasn't thanking after Lazarus became alive. He was thanking before he could even say, Lazarus, come forth. So follow Jesus. Give thanks to God before your miracle. Give thanks to God before your answer to prayer comes. Because that is a way you exercise faith and you tell God, God, I'm absolutely certain that you are on my side, that your word is true, that you will make your promise good in my life. I'm absolutely certain. And so I'm just thanking you for it in advance. I'm praising you for your faithfulness. I'm praising you for your goodness. God, thank you for it in Jesus' name. Amen. Number 5, another basic principle is that faith believes before it sees. Faith believes before it sees. You know, faith is not waiting for the answer to come and then say, oh, I had great faith. No, faith believes before it sees. And the Bible definition of faith is this. In Hebrews 11:1, it says, faith is the conviction of things not seen. You're absolutely convinced of it even before you see it. The Amplified Bible says it this way: faith perceives as a real fact what is not revealed to the senses. Faith perceives as a real fact what is not revealed to the senses. Faith believes before it sees. So how can you do that? Be an imitator of God. The Bible tells us, be ye imitators of God. And what does God do? Romans 4 says that the God we serve is a God who calls things that be not as though they were. So just be an imitator of God. Call things that do not exist as though they did. Why? Because of faith. Faith believes before it sees. And lastly, faith must have endurance. Hebrews 6:12, we saw this verse the last time. That through faith and patience we inherit the promises of God. So there are times and situations where you're having faith in God and you have to endure through time. You don't quit because you know what you're pursuing and you know the God in whom you've believed. Faith must have endurance. You believe it, there's a passage of time, but you stand firm in your faith till you see the outcome manifested here on earth. Amen. I want to close with 2 more thoughts here to bring a completeness to this understanding of faith. I want to talk about principles and presence. Principles and presence. We've been talking about the principles of faith, and principles are good. But God is greater than the principles He gave to us. The principles are not for God, the principles are for us. Are you with me? The principles do not dictate terms to God. The principles are for us to know how to walk with God. But the presence of God is superior to the principles of God. So what do you mean? Look at it from the natural side. God set in place the principle of gravity, or the law of gravity. But when He wants, He can walk on water. He can have Peter walk on water. So His presence supersedes the principles. To feed 5,000 people, you may need several bakeries and 7 weeks advance notice. But when it's His presence, It